What's up, guys? Welcome to another Follow the Empire with your boy Lex. We're going deep today, right? We definitely going deep today, so bear with me, guys, please. We're talking about the Follow the Empire here, right? And I'm not just saying that because I'm a pessimistic guy, because because I don't love my country. I love my country. I just know that we're done, but that's okay. These things they take a long time, and I think that is already we're at the point of no return. That's what I feel. But even in the collapse of Rome, a lot of people did good at the end, made money, got rich. So it's not over till it's over. So let's delve into this and let's study civilizations, all of them, from the beginning to the end. And you'll see now, and you'll see why I think it's over for us. Now, this is based on a couple of books: Fall of the Empires, The Fate of Empires, and Search for Survival, The Fate of Empires. It's based on those. So we're going to start. Go ahead, guys. Indulge.
Commences with a violent and usually unforeseen.
They're talking
many
about
civilizations as possible, we seem to discover the same patterns constantly.
They're talking about and I'll let the video go now. They're talking about how all empires have these things in common. The experiences of the human race have been recorded for some 4,000 years. If we attempt to study such a period of time as many civilizations as possible, we seem to discover the same patterns constantly repeated under widely different conditions of climate, culture, and religion. And that right there, climate and culture, that's what makes and breaks all civilizations. So if they have the same in common in all cultures, it holds weight, a lot of weight.
Repeated under widely differing conditions of climate, culture, and religion. The life expectation of a great civilization, it appears, commences with a violent and usually unforeseen outburst of energy, and ends in a lowering of moral standards, cynicism, pessimism, and frivolity. According to Glubb, the first stage in a civilization's life.
How did our civilization start? America. A burst of energy, a burst of craziness. All of them have this in common, but we can only talk about ours. That's the one we know, right? Let's go. Look, they have a picture of us right there. This isn't talking about us, though. This is just talking about civilizations in general. Let's go.
Lifespan is the age of pioneers. In this age, a small yet determined population of innovators, warriors, and usually...
Now we're going to go into the first stage. After the burst of energy happens, we're going to go into what happens, which is the first stage, which is the pioneer stage.
Unforeseen outburst of energy, and ends in a lowering of moral standards, cynicism, pessimism, and frivolity. According to Glubb, the first stage in a civilization's lifespan is the age of pioneers. In this age, a small yet determined population of innovators, warriors, and explorers lay down the seeds of a new civilization. Men hack their way through jungles, climb mountains, or brave the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans in tiny cockle shells.
This isn't just speaking about America. I know you guys are thinking America immediately, but keep it in mind, this man isn't talking about America. This is talking about different types of books. This book is The Fate of Empires and Search for Survival, the one he's quoting right now. Okay? Keep it in mind. We're not speaking about America. We're speaking about all empires that have gone and come, and we've been able to study.
Poor, hardy, often half-starved and ill-clad, they abound in courage, energy, and initiative, overcome every obstacle, and always seem to be in control of the situation. After settling into their newly found or conquered territory, the pioneers construct small towns and settlements, harness the natural resources of the region, and start to focus their energies on manufacturing, production, and trade. The age of pioneers thus ends in the age of commerce, the next stage in a...
I'm thinking Great Britain, I'm thinking Rome, I'm thinking America, I'm thinking Egypt. All of that, all of those empires I thought of had that in common. They had to chop down trees, they had to innovate, they had to create commerce, they had to do all that. Let's go.
Civilization's lifespan begins. In the age of commerce, larger city centers are constructed, public infrastructure is laid down, and with the vast amounts of wealth created from production and trade, the arts are lavishly funded, and monuments, palaces, museums, world wonders, and other such cultural edifices are constructed. In this age, a civilization reaches what Glubb called the high noon of
It's what I call the climax. When you guys hear me speak to, and I haven't even seen this. I don't need to see videos like this to know. I do a lot of reading. So, even though I haven't read any of these books, I read 3 books that that get most of the information from these books. But I'm still gonna read these books too. But this is what I call the not the climax, but the peak of civilization. I think that's what he's going into. If he's not, I apologize for wasting your time. But yeah, this would be to me the peak, where you have a lot of art. You know, you have your middle class living like if they were rich. At least they can pull it off 1 week out of the year. When your middle class can live like a millionaire 1 week out of the year, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. You've reached climax. Let's keep going.
prosperity, its peak of wealth and glory. In spite of the magnificence,
Boom.
in the high noon of prosperity, the seeds of civilizational collapse are planted. For short
Goddamn, I'm good. Listen, I have not seen this. I'll give you my word on my country, on my father, on my family. I've not seen this. That's to let you know where my brain's at. And I'm just a hood nigga. I swear on my life, I've not seen this.
Shortly after it reaches its peak, the civilization transitions into the age of affluence, and the immense wealth starts to corrupt the civilization. Selfishness, greed, and vanity uproot the virtues of dedication, sacrifice, and duty that were the norm in past ages. Rather than regarding money as a byproduct of hard work and virtuous action, people seek money for its own sake and see it as the be-all and end-all, the ticket.
The culture, Instagram, rap, Hollywood, hip-hop, all of it, the plastic. There you go. We're fucking done.
To salvation. And so, the god of Mammon, symbolic of the morally debasing influence of wealth, makes his appearance on the historical scene. The first direction in which wealth injures the civilization is a moral one, explains Glubb. The object of the young and the ambitious is no longer fame, honor, or service, but cash. The Arab moralist, Ghazali, complains that
there is no honor in this civilization. When I say I work at a bar, when I say the word honor, people look at me like I'm saying I want to have sex with a child. Honor is crazy. Okay? There's no honor in this country anymore. It doesn't even exist. People don't care about it whatsoever. That's been a forgotten word in America.
students no longer attend college to acquire learning and virtue, but to obtain those qualifications which will enable them to grow rich. What is more, in the age of affluence, access to luxuries, pleasures, and comforts abound, and even commoners possess the wealth and leisure to indulge in them. A spoiled society begins to rot from within, William Offals explains. In adapting them,
That's from the book Immoderate Greatness. This is gonna probably go into how when you have money and you have all the things. I've mentioned that before. When the middle class begins to indulge like rich people, you don't have a backbone anymore. Everybody's weak now. Everybody is too comfortable, and weak people start bound. Strong
themselves
times
to
make
abundance, the people grow incapable of enduring even mild forms of hardship and suffering, and as the often repeated saying goes, good times create weak men.
That's what I was gonna say. Good times create weak men. Hard times create strong men. There you go.
Prosperity ripened the principle of decay, Edward Gibbon explained in reference to Rome. The civilizational decline that occurs in the age of affluence is further hastened by an increasing preoccupation with welfare. As there is no shortage of wealth, commoners and rulers alike call on the state to use its monopoly on force.
No, this is too good. I did not know that we're gonna go into the welfare thing. I didn't know. Fuck. It's deeper than rap. is deeper than rap. Oh man, this shit is gold.
To take money from some citizens in order to provide medical care, education, housing, social insurance, and government handouts to others. It is awful.
The cancer that destroys all societies. The Bernie Sanders of the world. Alexander caved into that shit. Alexander the Great. That guy caused inflation to go crazy listening to idiots like Bernie Sanders. Yo, people gotta read more. Read serious shit, boring shit. You know? Get real high and just read that shit, man. Or watch the fucking documentary like this. It ain't that hard, man. But we're not at that point. I'm an anomaly. We're not at that point in America. Everybody's chasing money. Everybody's bullshitting, watching fucking bullshit on TV. I'm an anomaly. Let's go. Let's keep going.
Rights. Affluence fosters a sense of entitlement, as well as a feeling that none should be left behind. The upshot is a welfare state with a burgeoning roster of clients and a growing burden of subsidies, along with a corresponding loss of personal responsibility and independence.
What? Nah, no. Hey, I'm gonna keep it going. Hey, but does that sound like familiar? Do these problems sound familiar? Nah, I'm bugging. That can't be America.
Peak of Rome's affluence, for example, between the rule of Emperor Augustus and Emperor Claudius, nearly 1 in 3 citizens were on the Roman dole, and approximately 200,000 families received free wheat from the state. A mere generation or so later, Rome began its irreversible process of decline. It may perhaps be incorrect to picture the welfare state as the high-water mark of human attainment, writes Glubb. It may merely prove to be one more regular milestone in the life story of an aging and decrepit empire. With the safety net of welfare, and with an abundance of wealth, the population no longer needs to devote the majority of its waking hours to securing the necessities of life. Many, therefore, turn their attention to intellectual pursuits. The age of affluence gives way to the age of intellect, and the civilization continues its decline.
This is my favorite YouTube video on the planet. This is my favorite one I've ever seen in my whole life. I'm gonna have to send this shit to everybody I know, and then read all the books that are quoted here. Jesus Christ, the college professors, the AOCs, the college people, the left, soft motherfuckers that all they do is sit around and think. My God, this is not new. Nothing under the sun is new. There's nothing as old as the idea that something is new. Thomas Sowell.
Few would deny the immense benefits that intellectual pursuits bestow on the individual and society at large. However, as with most things in life, there can be too much of a good thing, and one of the characteristics of the age of intellect is that an excessively one-sided rationalistic approach to life saturates the civilization. To paraphrase Nietzsche, in the age of intellect, rationality is turned into a tyrant, and reason is viewed as the only means of discovering the truth. As a result, the symbolic, moral, and often irrational truths embedded in myth and religion are discarded, and the civilization loses the pillars upon which it was built. Nietzsche, for example, implicated the extreme rationality exemplified by Plato and Socrates as a symptom of degeneration, a tool of the Greek dissolution, and
Now, I know all about that. All those philosophers, as great as they sound, were fucking all weak little college professor bitches that fucked little kids. And that was a decline of Greece. Same shit happened with Rome. People have this idea that it was normal to be gay in Rome, that it was normal. None of that shit was normal. It was stigmatized as much as it is now. And when it became degenerate and fucking crazy, when people started finding ways to make it good, to make it the norm, that's when you know the civilization is about to collapse. It's always the same. It's always the same. This shit ain't new. These people cutting their dicks off, eunuchs. They were doing that in fucking ancient Egypt. Doing that in Greece. Doing that in Mesopotamia. Okay? Nothing is new under the sun. And you know when they started doing that? When eunuchs started having a lot of power, because eunuchs had a lot of power too. They were not all just slaves. A lot of them were famous. You know when that started happening? When the civilization started collapsing. Fact check me. Read these fucking books. But you guys are not going to do that. I mean, I apologize if you are, right? But the asshole looking at this, looking at me like if I'm crazy, isn't going to read these books. These are hard books. This shit isn't you're going to have to go back to school. You're going to have to reread them and write shit and fucking, you know. I mean, at least I do. I'm not the brightest. Let's keep going.
As he continued, without myth, every culture loses its healthy creative natural power. Or as the historians Will and Ariel Durant wrote, even the skeptical historian develops a humble respect for religion, since he sees it functioning and seemingly indispensable in every land and age.
Absolutely. I'm going through this right now. My sister went through it before me. I have a sister, man, and she's telling me, you know, we're atheists. Like, we try to be very reasonable. But we grew up religious. And she's back in church. She's like, there's got to be something to it. It makes me feel good. There's something to it, right? At my grandfather's funeral, when I saw this man get buried, I told my grandmother, if I ever get buried religiously, make sure it's a Catholic burial, because there's a sense of there's something there, right? And I do respect. As I lay back and I study all civilizations, I have to respect religion, because when religion goes away, so does a civilization. Let's continue.
The soul of a civilization is its religion, and it dies with its faith. Along with a decline of religion and myth, the age of intellect is also characterized by the rise of highly rational and critical intellectuals, who thrive in dissecting and tearing down the dominant systems of beliefs and values.
Oh, diablo, what the fuck was that? Oh, God, what was that? They're talking about niggas and shit.
Referring to Rome's age of intellect, the historian Edward Gibbon wrote, "A crowd of critics, of compilers, of commentators, darkened the face of learning, and the decline of genius was soon followed by the corruption of taste. As these critical theories spread, traditional moral codes give way to moral relativism, and the faith that life has meaning is replaced by existential nihilism. A majority of the people come to believe that there is no such thing as objective truth, that nothing is inherently moral or valuable, and
Watch What Is a Woman by Matt Walsh. That's happening right now. There's no truth anymore. There's only your truth. Insanity. But that's where we're at. It's over. Get your money. Save your money. Teach your children that it is over. Teach your children that they can turn it around. That they're going to have to be very hard to turn it around. Because nothing is said until it's said. I believe we're circling the drain. History will teach us we're circling the drain. But it doesn't mean your life is over, man. Keep working. Keep making your money. It wasn't over for the smart Romans. I saw it happening, because there were those guys. They went to Constantinople. You know what I'm saying? When that shit collapsed, they went somewhere else. America is an idea. It's an attitude. All right? It's not a place. Let's keep going.
that there is no meaning to the historical process, nor to life. And as William Offals writes, thanks to the demolition job performed by the intellectuals, the society is increasingly value-free. That is, it no longer believes in much of anything or takes anything seriously. The original elan, the moral core, and the guiding ideal of the civilization are now a distant memory. Following this intellectual demolition job, the age of decadence, the terminal stage in a civilization's lifespan, sets in. Without an overarching guiding ideal or moral core, there exists widespread disorientation, confusion, and moral decay. The masses live empty and meaningless lives from which they seek relief by drowning themselves in base pleasures, developing addiction.
Everyone in America is addicted to drugs. I'm a bartender. Trust me when I tell you this, okay? Your firefighters are high. Your bartenders are high. Your lawyers are high. The president's son is high. The president is high. The nurse is high. Your mom is high. Everyone is high. Everyone is high. Everyone. I'm high, nigga. Let's keep going.
Addictions, and by adopting escapism as a way of life. People grow increasingly incapable of distinguishing between true and false, good and bad, right and wrong, and so they often choose what is life-denying and harmful. Beauty and genius are renounced in favor of banality, ugliness, and vulgarity. Virtues are seen as vices, and vices virtues. The process of
Yeah, if you're gay, yeah, you're great. I don't drink, I'm weird. I train every day, oh, he's crazy. I say the truth, oh, he's antisocial, you're mean. We have people changing their sex and they're being called heroes. A guy fights for the country, has a Confederate flag, he's shunned. Let's keep going.
Individuation in pursuit of greatness is abandoned in favor of an apathetic conformity, and as a result, mental illness becomes the norm. The society's original vigor, virtue, and morale have been entirely effaced. Rotten to the core, the society awaits collapse, with only the date remaining to be determined. Referring to the decadence that started to infect Rome in the 1st century AD, the Roman historian Livy explains, Rome was originally, when it was poor and small, a unique example of austere virtue. Then it corrupted, it spoiled, it rotted itself by all the vices, so, little by little, we have been brought into the present condition in which we are able neither to endure the evils from which we suffer, nor the remedies we need to cure them. Glub Pasha echoes,
If you love this country, if you give 3 flying fucks about history, if you think history is a thing, or if you might think it's just there for luxury, for it to just be looked at and entertain you. But if you believe history holds weight, stand up, man. Do something about it. Maybe we can be the first ones to turn it around. And maybe you don't care about the civilization, but get ready. We won't see it collapse. I feel in our lifetime we won't see it. I feel our grandchildren will live in a third world. I really do believe that. This will be a big ass third world Europe type shit. Kind of like a lot of places in England, kind of like California. It will be California all over the country.
Is the conclusion of many other historians by stating that there is no escape from the progressive stages of a civilization's lifespan. Due to the laws of human nature, each generation will modify itself in predictable ways based on the conditions generated by previous generations. If this is the case, we are forced to consider what William Offals calls an unpalatable conclusion. Civilization is effectively hardwired for self-destruction. Yet civilizations may be hardwired for self-destruction for another reason. For throughout history the ruling, or political classes, through a combination of mismanagement and corruption, have played a prominent role in the decline and fall of civilizations. And in the next video, we will examine this idea in more detail.
This is the tragedy of civilization. Its very greatness, its panoply of wealth and power turns against it and brings it down. And I'm gonna leave that there. Share this video, guys. Share it. And find the original video and share that too. Keep your head up, man. We got this.